Batman from 1966 wasn't just campy fun and bright tights. It was television anarchy turned cinematic chaos. Behind the Technicolor laughs and comic panels lay a production that teetered between genius and absurdity. From exploding props that nearly blinded crew members to script rewrites done mid-scene, this movie was pure mayhem wrapped in spandex. Today we're uncovering 20 weird facts about Batman, the movie that will make you see the Caped Crusader's wildest adventure in a whole new light. The Batboat nearly sank before filming began. The Batboat was supposed to be the sleek symbol of Gotham heroics. Instead, it almost became a maritime disaster. The production borrowed it from Glastron, a Texas boat company that had to modify the craft with fins, chrome, and that massive jet-like exhaust. But during its first test run near Santa Barbara, the fiberglass cracked under the added weight of props. Crew members scrambled to keep it from sinking before the cameras rolled. Repairs had to be done overnight using resin and patchwork, while director Leslie Martinson nervously waited on shore. When filming resumed, the boat leaked again, forcing Adam West to stay still to avoid tilting it. What audiences saw as effortless flair on screen was actually Adam praying not to go down with his own Batboat. The shark attack scene almost caused real injury. The opening shark scene looks ridiculous today, but filming it was no joke. Adam West hung from the helicopter rig while a rubber shark gnawed on his leg. The mechanical clamp inside the prop was heavier than expected, and it bruised West's thigh so badly he needed medical attention after shooting. Crew members tried to make the shark move by yanking it with fishing line from off-camera, but the saltwater corroded the mechanism. To salvage the gag, they coated the shark with fire-retardant foam and literally set it on fire to simulate the exploding bat shark repellent finale. The smell was awful, the fumes were real, and the laughs were earned through pain. That silly opening sequence nearly ended with a burned costume. Cesar Romero refused to shave his mustache. The Joker's iconic grin hides a secret of pure vanity. Cesar Romero, the veteran Latin lover from Hollywood's golden era, flatly refused to shave his mustache for the role. Instead, the makeup team had to plaster white grease paint over it layer by layer. Under studio lights, you can still see the faint shadow of his whiskers shimmering through the clown makeup. Romero laughed about it, calling it his trademark charm, but it drove the continuity team mad since the texture changed from scene to scene. Not a single take matched another, and the makeup would melt under heat, forcing constant retouches. The result accidentally gave the Joker a grimy, chaotic look that fit the campy insanity of the film perfectly. His unshaven rebellion became an accidental stroke of genius. Penguin's submarine was a recycled prop nightmare. Burgess Meredith's Penguin commanded a submarine with flair, but behind the scenes that sub was cobbled together from leftover war film props. The art department found an old naval training mock-up in a storage yard and reskinned it with spray-painted panels and glued-on foam fins. When the crew first powered its internal lights, the circuits shorted out, causing small sparks inside the confined set. Meredith reportedly kept performing while smoke drifted around him until Martinson yelled cut. The sub was so unstable that camera operators had to shoot from outside using forced perspective to make it seem larger. What appeared on screen as the Penguin's undersea fortress was actually a wheezing fire trap with fans pushing bubbles through aquarium tubing. Hollywood magic sometimes meant pure industrial hazard. Lee Merriweather was a last-minute Catwoman. The Catwoman most fans remember from the show was Julie Newmar, but she was nowhere near the film set. A back injury forced her out days before shooting, so producers scrambled and hired Lee Merriweather almost overnight. She barely had time for costume fittings before slipping into the stitched black suit. The lenses fogged so badly under the studio lamps she could barely see the set around her. Crew guided her by sound cues and taped arrows on the floor. Despite that chaos, her sly poise and feline body language made the performance unforgettable. Yet off-camera, she felt immense pressure replacing a fan favorite. Years later, even Newmar admitted Merriweather's improvisations were bold. Catwoman's charm survived pure production panic and became movie legend. The Batmobile almost caught fire during filming. The iconic Batmobile looked invincible on screen, but it was actually a death trap on wheels. Built by custom car genius George Barris, the vehicle was a converted Lincoln Futura concept car from the 1950s. Its turbine-inspired rear flamethrower was real and ran on propane. During one take, the heat ignited the fiberglass bodywork and sent smoke curling into the cockpit. Adam West and Burt Ward had to leap out mid-scene as crew members rushed in with extinguishers. The car's metal frame buckled slightly from the heat, and production halted for 2 days while Barris patched it back together. To prevent another disaster, the effects team used a smaller flame for future takes. It wasn't a prop malfunction, it was almost a cremation on wheels. Burt Ward's Robin costume was physically painful. The Boy Wonder's bright green and red outfit might look playful, but it was agony to wear. Burt Ward's costume was so tight that he later joked it cut off his circulation. The studio refused to loosen it, claiming the snug fit was necessary for television close-ups. The short shorts left him covered in bruises after action scenes, especially the motorcycle stunts. The cape's collar hooks dug into his neck whenever he turned too fast. To make matters worse, his utility belt buckle kept popping open during fight choreography, sending props flying across the set. Ward toughed it out, refusing to complain, even as sweat soaked through the thin fabric. On screen, he was fearless. In reality, he was enduring one of Hollywood's most uncomfortable uniforms. The villain team-up was a scheduling nightmare. Getting 4 major villains together sounded brilliant on paper, but it nearly destroyed the production calendar. Cesar Romero Burgess, Meredith Frank Gorshin, and Lee Merriweather all had conflicting contracts and television commitments. Some scenes had to be shot with body doubles or stand-ins while close-ups were filmed weeks apart. In group shots, you can often spot mismatched lighting or sudden cuts because half the actors weren't even on set that day. Director Leslie Martinson joked that coordinating them was harder than fighting crime itself. The constant reshuffling also confused the script supervisor, who lost track of dialogue continuity, forcing rewrites overnight. What audiences saw as seamless villain camaraderie was stitched together from chaos and creative editing. The supervillain alliance was a logistical crime of its own. The exploding buoy scene destroyed expensive cameras. In one memorable scene, Batman and Robin detonate a buoy to reveal a villain trap. But the explosion was far stronger than planned. The special effects team miscalculated the amount of pyrotechnic charge, and the resulting blast sent water and debris flying over the crew. One of the rented cameras was ruined by saltwater, while another toppled off its tripod into the surf. The insurance company refused to cover the damage, claiming negligence. Adam West emerged soaked and furious, but insisted on finishing the day's shoot anyway. That's the shot you still see in the final cut. Every splash, every ripple is real chaos, frozen in time. The price of campy heroism was thousands of dollars in wrecked gear and one very embarrassed effects team. The fight scenes were more dangerous than they looked. Those famous onomatopoeic punches looked goofy, but they often left real bruises. Adam West and Burt Ward performed many of their own stunts, and the choreography was rushed to meet shooting deadlines. Without rehearsals, they missed cues and sometimes hit each other for real. Ward's knuckles were once split open by a metal prop, while West's cape nearly strangled him after getting caught on a lighting rig mid-spin. The stage floor was painted to resemble comic panels, but it became slick with sweat, making every leap risky. After one fall, West had to ice his ribs before returning for another take. Go ahead and like and subscribe, because every BAM and POW you remember was powered by real pain, real sweat, and real Hollywood chaos. Adam West improvised the Bat-Bomb Run, that hilarious sequence where Batman dashes around the pier holding a giant cartoon bomb wasn't carefully planned. It was chaos caught on camera. The script simply read, "Batman disposes of bomb." Adam West improvised the entire run, dodging nuns, baby duck, and marching bands. The bomb prop was heavy, and filled with sand for balance, which made each take grueling. West's exaggerated frustration wasn't acting, it was exhaustion. Director Leslie Martinson loved the spontaneity and kept rolling while crew members struggled to stay out of frame. When West finally yelled, "Some days, you just can't get rid of a bomb," it wasn't in the script. That line became one of the most quoted moments in Batman history, all born from unplanned physical comedy and pure desperation. The Batcycle scene caused a real street panic. When filming the Batcycle chase through Los Angeles traffic, the crew didn't have proper road control. They shot guerrilla style without official permits to save money. Burt Ward drove the sidecar while a stunt driver handled the motorcycle, but locals had no idea a movie was being filmed. Cars honked, pedestrians screamed, and several drivers actually pulled over thinking a real emergency was happening. The Batcycle's engine was louder than expected, and one exhaust backfire startled nearby horses from a mounted police unit. Ward later admitted he was terrified during the ride, since the sidecar's quick-release mechanism jammed. What audiences saw as fast-paced fun was pure chaos captured by accident. Afterward, the city demanded the studio never film action sequences on open streets again. The Batcycle earned real-life notoriety. The movie was secretly funded to sell toys. Most fans assume Batman, the movie, existed to expand the television universe, but it was really a massive merchandising experiment. 20th Century Fox and ABC wanted to test if superhero products could dominate stores the way Westerns once had. The film was fast-tracked before the show's second season purely to push Batmobile's lunchboxes and costumes. Budget cuts hit every department except for marketing. While the cast thought they were making a big-screen adventure, the studio was already printing toy catalogs. The plan worked, sales skyrocketed, and Batman became the first mass-market superhero franchise. What audiences thought was artful escapism was a corporate gamble in capes. The studio discovered gold not in Gotham's underworld, but in every child's bedroom across America. The Batcave set was dangerously unstable. The Batcave looked spectacular on film, but it was built on a cheap soundstage foundation. The jagged foam walls were mounted on thin wooden frames that wobbled whenever someone walked too close. During filming of the Batmobile exit shot, a section of the rock wall collapsed, missing a crew member by inches. Sparks flew from the lighting rig, and smoke filled the room. Production paused for safety checks, but the crew simply reinforced the walls with extra tape and kept rolling. Adam West later said the cave looked better on film than it smelled, since the paint fumes were overwhelming. What appeared to be the high-tech lair of justice was really a fragile illusion of glue, sweat, and stage dust holding together by sheer willpower. The Batcopter almost decapitated its pilot. The Batcopter scenes were filmed over the California coast using a rented Bell helicopter retrofitted with fiberglass bat wings. Those wings looked cool, but they nearly killed someone. During one take, a strong gust caught the extended fin and snapped part of it loose mid-air. The fiberglass fragment sliced dangerously close to the pilot's rotor assembly. The pilot ducked just in time, avoiding decapitation. Adam West and Burt Ward were strapped inside, watching it happen. They thought the rotor had failed completely and prepared to crash into the ocean. The chopper landed hard but safely. Production shut down for 3 days to inspect the damage. The Batcopter became infamous among crew members who nicknamed it the Flying Coffin. Every shot you see in the film was captured under pure adrenaline and blind luck. The laugh gas scene caused real dizziness. During the Joker's laugh gas sequence, the cast used thick fog effects to simulate the toxic cloud. What they didn't know was that the fog mixture contained real chemical irritants. The studio technicians overfilled the soundstage with vapor from a commercial smoke machine meant for outdoor use. Within minutes, actors began coughing and their eyes watered uncontrollably. Cesar Romero kept performing through tears, believing the reaction looked authentic. Adam West nearly fainted under the cowl from the heat and fumes. Filming had to stop while the crew aired out the set with industrial fans. Afterward, the prop department diluted all fog mixtures by half. That hysterical laughter wasn't entirely acting. The Joker's gas scene brought genuine chaos to an already oxygen-starved bat set. The underwater sequence was filmed in a swimming pool. The climactic underwater fight scene wasn't shot in the ocean at all. It was filmed in a small Los Angeles swimming pool, tinted green, with dye to fake the look of seawater. The stuntmen wore weighted boots to stay submerged while camera operators worked inside watertight boxes. The problem was visibility. The dye made the water so opaque that no one could see more than a few feet. Crew members had to signal with underwater flashlights whenever someone ran out of air. One stuntman accidentally inhaled the dyed water and was rushed to medical care with chemical burns in his throat. Yet somehow the footage came out surprisingly crisp once the color was corrected. What audiences saw as a daring ocean battle was a chlorinated nightmare in someone's backyard. The Penguin's umbrella weapons really fired projectiles. Burgess Meredith's arsenal of umbrella gadgets wasn't entirely fake. The props team built several functioning models that could shoot compressed air flares and smoke pellets. During rehearsal, one umbrella misfired and launched a flare into the lighting rig, igniting a small fire. Meredith kept his composure and stayed in character as crew members rushed to extinguish the blaze. He later joked that the Penguin's weaponry was more reliable than Batman's. After the incident, all umbrella props were locked in storage except during supervised takes. Still, some shots in the final film feature real flare smoke drifting from Meredith's hands. The danger was authentic, and so was the swagger. The Penguin's umbrellas weren't just props, they were loaded with unpredictable menace and movie magic gone rogue. The world premiere caused a Hollywood traffic jam. When Batman premiered in 1966 at the Paramount Theater, it caused complete pandemonium. Thousands of fans flooded Hollywood Boulevard dressed as Caped Crusaders and villains. The Batmobile itself was driven down the street with Adam West and Burt waving from inside. The car overheated from the summer heat and stalled in the middle of the crowd. Police had to push it out of the way while fans chanted Batman over and over. The event gridlocked traffic for hours and forced nearby theaters to delay screenings. News reports called it the first superhero riot. What was meant to be a glamorous red carpet became a pop culture eruption, proving that Gotham's icons had already conquered the real world outside the screen. Bonus fact: the movie almost had a sequel set in outer space. Before the television ratings declined, producers planned a second Batman movie that would send the dynamic duo into orbit. The working title was Batman in Space, and the concept art featured a bat rocket shaped like a giant batarang. The plot reportedly involved alien duplicates of Gotham's villains teaming up to invade Earth. Budget estimates skyrocketed, and the studio quietly abandoned the idea once the show's popularity waned. Some costume designs for the spacesuits survived and were later reused in other science fiction series. The dream of cosmic crime fighting never materialized, but it showed how wild the Batman phenomenon had become. Gotham's chaos was no longer enough. The producers wanted to conquer the stars, one campy batblast at a time. Batman 1966 remains a dazzling paradox. It looked innocent, but it was born from exhaustion, ambition, and creative madness. Every gadget, every gag, every accidental masterpiece came from a team improvising under pressure. Beneath the bright colors lay danger risk and genuine invention. It wasn't just a movie about heroes. It was a movie made by them. Subscribe for more hidden truths from cinema's strangest adventures, and remember, even the campiest legends can hide explosive secrets beneath the mask.